Production! Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today, I'm going to do an album review on the latest HAIM record, Woman in Music, Part 3. So, yeah, because I don't want to, make too many videos. So I may have to pack 2 album reviews in this video alone. So maybe you'll see another album review at the end of this video. Maybe. I'm not sure. It depends on how long this video goes. So yeah, I also need to leave, so I'm gonna speak quickly. So HAIM is the female trio, the female triplet, the HAIM sisters from California. They are back, and yeah, their debut album is not bad. Like, not bad at all. They make some really nice, smooth, but also lively pop music back in their debut album. Their sophomore album, however, is way more weak and mild and tame. But HAIM, they are back with their 3rd record. And once again, they are bringing back the very organic, the very raw production. And also, the kind of music they make is what I would define as Californian pop, where the lyrics are, I would say, the exact opposite of abstract. You have the most straightforward, the most honest to God lyrics on this album, and you have instrumentals, even if they sound, sweet and dreamy and lovely, they are simple, nothing complicated. Californian pop. There you go. And while I think a good chunk of songs on this album are very enjoyable, I won't say that this album is great or anything. I still think that this album has a lot to improve. So right off the bat, we have the track Los Angeles, which I actually kind of enjoyed. I really like the nice kick drums, the rustic cycling bass. I really like the jazzy saxophones and the summery guitars. And the funniest line on the entire song is, "New York is cold." I was there and I was like, nope. I legitimately laughed out loud when I heard this line. But overall, really catchy track, amazing opener. Next up, we have The Steps, and it's a very charismatic, raw track. It's a very sweet track. I really love the warm bass, the crunchy, boogie, bluesy guitars, and overall, it's a really nice sounding, soothing pop song as well. The 3rd track, I Know Alone, however, is the most awkward track on the entire track list, in my opinion. This is basically HAIM's attempt in making a moody dance pop song, and it kind of failed. It just sounds really awkward, and while the chorus is sticky, the way they sang it, the very stripped back production in the chorus, it really kind of ruins the track. However, the next 3, 4, 5 tracks are also pretty fantastic. We have the track Up From a Dream, which is a really heavy track from HAIM. We get these very distorted bass riffs, which are really heavy and distorted. And on top of that, we get these very gentle vocals, and for some reason they combine with each other really well, and the guitar solo later on the track totally kills it. In a good way, Up next, we have the track Gasoline, and while this track is a little slower with its rolling drums, and I still really love the summery chorus of this track, and it's really catchy as well. It kind of reminds me of Dirty Projectors, and again, in a good way. And the track 3 AM sounds like a mix of between a Blood Orange song and a Michael Jackson song, with its neo-soul vibes and its disorienting, dreamy bass guitars. And this track is essentially about feeling annoyed when you're being called in 3 a.m. You know how grateful would I be if I receive a phone call? Anyways, yeah, other than that, it's a really solid song as well. Great production, very charismatic. The track Don't Wanna is easily my favorite song on the entire album. The very driving, compelling, bumpy bass of this track is slick. It is killer. and the hook is fantastic. The chorus is sweet and catchy. It is just a 10 out of 10 solid HAIM song. Let's go! Another thing is another try, which is this reverby stripped back song with a very nice skeletal bridge. While this track is pretty good, I don't think it's as good as the previous four. I think it's just okay. And afterwards we have the track Leaning on You, which I also think is just okay. It's a pretty twangy, plucky folk track with this blown out reverby guitar solo, but overall these gospel-y, country-esque vocal harmonies, and together they're just alright. Same goes for the next track, I've Been Down, which is a bit of a slow burn. It's basically an acoustic Americana track, and we get these dragged vocals in the chorus, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I am not a huge fan of. And the track Man from the Magazine. It's a pretty raw folk track, and we have lyrics about sexist interactions. And while I do really enjoy the raw, dejected guitars on this track, I think overall it's alright as well. Nothing all that outstanding. However, the second to last track, All That Ever Mattered, is pretty friggin' crazy. The production is whack. We get these quirky, bloopy keyboards, auto-tune vocals, all these layers of sound effects and ghostly vocals, and screaming, just screaming banshee noises all over the track. It's really noisy, really crazy, and very surprising, and I do enjoy that a lot. However, the album ends off on a bit of an anticlimactic note with FUBT, or fucked up but true, and it's a very bare bone track. Like, there are no drums or anything, and we have a very abrupt ending, which is kind of underwhelming. So yeah, overall, while I think a good chunk of the track list is enjoyable, I still think there is a lot to be improved upon, and I still think HAIM has yet to sort of own their sound and make their sound something special. So yeah, my favorite track here is Don't Wanna. My least favorite track is I Know Alone. I am giving HAIM's Women in Music Part 3 light 7 out of 10. Alright, I'm back. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do the another album review. That is the latest Chloe and Halle album, Ungodly Hour. Alright, so Chloe and Halle, they are a duo. A female duo from the USA. They are R&B pop singers and songwriters. And they make some really accessible, catchy music. And I saw a couple of their music videos on YouTube before making this review, and one of the videos got like 18 million views and the other got 6 million, and I thought, wow, they're actually really popular. How the hell did I not know who they are? Turns out the rest of the album have less than 1 million views in their YouTube, and it's just really confusing. It's just really strange how unrecognized they are. So yes, catchy would be the right word to describe their music. Their music is catchy, accessible, fun, playful, colorful, while not being the cheap, generic trap R&B that is a lot of the mainstream R&B nowadays. They actually stick to the original traditional R&B sound, but sort of reinventing it to make it sound trendier and more modern. So we have Ungodly Hour, and it's a pretty good album in my opinion. Starting off, we have the intro track, which leads to the track Forgive Me, which is an absolutely amazing track in my opinion. We get these elegant, sweet strings, a hard-hitting, crispy trap beat, and these vocals that are very soft, very gentle, very high-pitched, and it just perfectly matches with the instrumentals really well. And also, there are production credits on this album of Scott Storch. Now, I'm gonna admit this, I didn't know who the hell is Scott Storch until I saw the reviews for this album. Apparently, he's this producer who had produced a lot of music for a lot of people over the years, like Dr. Dre, Nas, 50 Cent, and also Chloe and Halle. So you know that's a big name in the music industry. And the second track is also pretty fantastic in my opinion. It's called Baby Girl, and it's a little bit Lon infused with its marching drums and also its very subtle, rigid keyboards. Again, it is extremely catchy, and the very warm vocals are fantastic. They're beautiful. The third track, Do It, or more like the fourth track, Do It, is the most popular track on the entire album. And while I don't think it's the best track on the album, I still think it's fantastic. I mean, it is a minimal, wavy trap R&B track with very subtle, light vocals that are also simultaneously very, very sweet. We get these punchy rhythms and also a very spacey chorus, which of course, given how spacey this chorus is, Chloe and Halle or whoever managed their music turned it into a TikTok dance. And you know, just the marketing strategy behind this song. But yeah, it's still a very good track. Up next we have Tipsy, which sounds different from the previous three in that it is a very bold but also clumsy, almost cartoony pop song, and it's extremely colorful, very playful, kind of eccentric, and I love the pounding drums and also the chorus with the very bold vocal layers. I am a little tipsy on your love. It's very, very catchy indeed. Also, the way this track sort of throws back to the old school dance pop is really fun. The title track, just okay. It is a nice dance cut with a few jazzy decorations here and there. Instrumentally, it's a little more stripped back than I would have liked, but it's still not bad at all. The next track, Busy Boy, has a theatrical intro, as well as these very nice, breathtaking chorus. Breathy chorus. That's what I mean. And I actually really like it. I like the deep bass. I like the very fun, quirky drums with the snappy beats. And the lyrics, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's about a busy boy sort of having multiple dates, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it's just okay. I guess the one thing that I think this track can improve upon is that this track can add a little bit more dynamic to its sound, in that I think this track sounds pretty similar throughout its entire duration, and I just hope that it has a bit more change up. The next track, Catch Up, featuring Mike Willamade and Sway Lee, did not make it, in that it feels like a really generic trap R&B track. The very high-pitched vibrato vocals and the loud hi-hats produced by Mike, and the hand drums, none of them mixed together. They're all pretty incompatible. The beat is very underwhelming, and it's a pretty awkward track overall. And then afterwards we have the track Overwhelmed, which is just a 52-second long interlude, and it's basically this very light piano vocal mixture. Afterwards we have the track Lonely, which is a really dreamy ballad with some simple hand clap beats, and it sounds pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's one of the better and more inspiring moments on the album. However, we have the track Don't Make It Harder on Me, and I think this is another highlight on the album because it is a bluesy soul track with a bit of a vintage throwback vibe, and it's fantastic. I think the funky drums, the sad guitars, the vibraphones, and the strings, they all come together really well, really homogeneously. But what I love really much about this track is the nostalgic chord progression. Anyways, the second to last track is I Wonder What She Thinks of Me. That's the name of the track, and it's a bit more theatrical than other tracks on the album, and the verses are very bluesy, they're very jazzy even, but overall it's just okay. I think the beat is kind of rigid as well. And the album ends off with ROYL, Rest of Your Life, and it is a really bold, playful, and fun album finisher with a really hard trap beat. I really like the bold, thick, dense vocal layers of this track. They're fantastic. And even though the rap sung verses sound a little bit one-dimensional, I still think it is a pretty okay album ending. So yeah. Not much else to talk about. I think it's a pretty good album. It's pretty good. It has room to improve on, room to improve upon, but I still think a good chunk, especially for the first half of the album, is fantastic. Favorite track here is either Forgive Me or Tipsy. And my least favorite track here is Catch Up. I am giving Chloe and Halle, Ungodly Hour, a decent to strong 7 out of 10. Check them out. So, have you listened to Chloe and Halle's Ungodly Hour? From 1 to 10, how much is your rated? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. Cheers.